Our top story tonight. Mumbai is bracing for a massive rise in COVID cases. The city has already seen a quantum jump in cases in a single day with a 70% rise from yesterday's figure. Over 2,500 cases were reported today. If you look at the weekly case jump, that's even steeper at 246%. Maharashtra Minister Aditya Thackeray held a meeting with civic officials today to chart out a course of emergency action. The city is planning to increase hospital infrastructure as well as organize medication and oxygen. Along with this, there's going to be a big focus on vaccinations for both eligible adults as well as teenagers who can now take them under the new rules.
Officials fear that the third wave in Mumbai may have begun, with cases today shooting up about 80% compared to just one day ago. The positivity rate is about 4%. The silver lining, hospitalizations are few. The government says there's no need to panic.
मागच्या आठवड्यात आपण बघितलं असेल 150 केसेस होत्या आणि आज आपण 2,500 केसेसच्या आसपास पोहोचलेलो आहोत. ही तिसरी लाटची सुरुवात असू शकते, पण मुख्य गोष्ट हीच आहे, तसं मी सांगितलं की पॅनिक कुठे होण्याची गरज नाही, कुठेही घाबरण्याची गरज नाही आहे. पण जी आपण काळजी घेत आलेलो आहोत, प्रत्येक नागरिक जे काळजी घेत आहेत, मास्क लावत आहेत, वॅक्सिनेशन झालेलं आहे, त्यांनी खूप महत्त्वाचं आहे की ती काळजी घेणं.
The police and the BMC will keep a strict vigil to ensure restrictions are enforced and violators will face penalties. Establishments that do not follow guidelines will be sealed for months. The railways have also started a drive to enforce masks at Mumbai's most crowded railway stations. But there's no lockdown being considered yet given the economic cost.
आज लॉकडाउन की ज़रूरत नहीं है, जब तब ज़रूर देखा जाएगा, लेकिन आज ज़रूरत इतनी है कि हमने हमारा माइंडसेट कोविड अप्रोप्रिएट बिहेवियर का बिल्कुल स्ट्रिक्टली रखना चाहिए और उसका अमल सीरियसली करना चाहिए.
The COVID task force in the state will, however, meet the Chief Minister soon to discuss more restrictions. The immediate concern, though, are children, as a school in Ahmednagar reported 79 positive cases among students. 3 teachers have also tested positive.
उनको रूरल हॉस्पिटल पार्टनर में उनको आइसोलेशन वार्ड में रखा है. जो बाकी के बचे हुए स्टूडेंट जो है वही हॉस्टल में उनको हॉस्टल के जो भी हॉल्स है वहाँ पे उनको क्वारंटाइन किया है.
In the next 48 hours, Mumbai's civic body, the BMC, will be connecting with all educational institutions in the city to plan and organize vaccination drive for all those from 15 to 18 years of age. Maharashtra's COVID task force member Dr. Shashank Joshi says that he is certain that this spike in cases is driven by the Omicron variant. A staggering increase in new COVID cases from 1,377 yesterday to 2,510 today. And while hospitalizations are low, authorities aren't taking any chances, which is why they are preparing for the worst while hoping for the best. In Mumbai with camera person Praveen G. Rohit, Saurabh Gupta, NDTV.
And in the latest numbers coming in, there's been a massive spike in Delhi's COVID cases. 923 COVID cases have been reported in Delhi in the last 24 hours. Now, that's a significant jump from the 400-odd cases in the previous 24-hour period. However, Delhi's Disaster Management Authority in a meeting today decided not to impose any fresh restrictions in the national capital despite that rising number of cases. The yellow alert of the graded response action plan is going to continue for some time. But even as the new rules kicked in, there were fresh worries about overcrowding. Akshay Dongre with that story.
Crowds waiting for metros and buses. Ironically, a fallout of the tighter new curbs against crowds on public transport. Weekly COVID cases have almost tripled to almost 1,800, but people here say the emergency measures to contain the spread of infection defy logic.
देखो ये सोशल डिस्टेंसिंग कहाँ है, आम नागरिक तो एक दूसरे से टच ही है, तो वो चीज़ यहाँ पर नहीं हो पा रही है.
तो खतरा लगता है कि
बिल्कुल डेफिनेटली खतरा लगता है.
हाउ विल यू मैनेज इट? क्या कीजिए, क्यू में तो लगना ही पड़ेगा.
फ्रीक्वेंसी बढ़ा दीजिए मेट्रो की.
हाँ, मेट्रो की फ्रीक्वेंसी बढ़ाओ. देयर आफ्टर हल्की फुल्की भीड़ हुई है, बट ओके डिस्टेंस वाज देयर.
बट बाहर नहीं है एक तरह से.
बाहर है, आई मीन यू सी द क्यू इज लाइक हाउ व्हाट इज द डिस्टेंस, 1 arm लेंथ तक हम रख पा रहे हैं.
दैट्स यू बट
अदर्स शुड आल्सो मेंटेन. They should try to maintain.
अंदर भी नहीं हो पाता है. आप अगर मेट्रो में देखो तो आपको लगता है मेट्रो में कभी हो पाता है, कभी नहीं हो पाएगा क्योंकि इतने लोग ट्रैवल करते हैं. चीप मोड ऑफ ट्रैवलिंग है ये, लोग नहीं कर पाएंगे. आप किसको रोक सकते हैं यहाँ पे? हर किसी को तो नहीं रोक सकते ना. बाहर चलो ये बाहर आप लगा सकते हो कि आप लोगों को स्कैन करोगे, सैनिटाइजर दोगे, बट अभी तक हमें ये नहीं पता कि ये सिम्टोमेटिक असिम्टोमेटिक की प्रॉब्लम क्या है, खास करके ओमिक्रॉन को लेकर।
Officials are concerned at the COVID trends in the national capital. For instance, the positivity rate is at almost 1%, up about 5 times in just 1 week. And the doubling rate of active cases is less than 5 days. The government says the main reason behind rapid rise in COVID cases is the arrival of international passengers.
जो कल 496 पॉजिटिव केसेस आए, पॉजिटिविटी लगभग 1% के आसपास चल रही है और लगातार पिछले कुछ दिनों से जब से ओमिक्रॉन स्टार्ट हुआ है विदेशों से फ्लाइट्स आनी स्टार्ट हुई हैं, केसेस काफ़ी तेज़ी से बढ़ रहे हैं। अभी तक जितने भी केस आ रहे हैं ज़्यादातर ऐसे हैं कि जो बाहर से लोग आए हैं वो थोड़े दिनों बाद पॉजिटिव हो रहे हैं, तो उनके कॉन्टैक्ट के लोग या उनके घर के लोग ज़्यादा हो रहे हैं। अभी तक देखो जितना एक्सपीरियंस है, जो लोग ठीक होकर अस्पताल से घर गए हैं ओमिक्रॉन के, अभी तक एक भी पेशेंट को ऑक्सीजन लगानी नहीं पड़ी है जो ओमिक्रॉन से पॉजिटिव रहे हैं।
More curbs aren't ruled out, especially with such crowds.
If this corona spreads, then it's very difficult to control at the last moment. But if you prevent it from spreading in the community, so further transmission can only be halted by timely decisions. And if you have a lot of crowds, we have seen that people are gathering in the markets. So this Omicron particularly spreads very fast, 3 to 4 times faster than the Delta.
While the government has started implementing restrictions to check the rising COVID-19 cases, it also has to ensure adequate arrangements on the ground to ensure there is no fallout and COVID cases do not rise because of these restrictions. With camera person Sushil Rathi, I'm Akshay Dongre for NDTV.
But this rise is clearly not confined just to Mumbai or Delhi alone. There's a worrying rise in India's overall COVID trends. Let's take a look. Well, average reproduction factor is at 0.99. That's the highest since early September. Active cases are also up by 1,500, that's 1,546. That's the highest rise once again since the end of September. The weekly change in cases is at 5.3%, and that's the highest it's been in 4 months. So let's take a weekly look also at how cases are rising. Now, this is now in 19 states as opposed to just 11 states a week ago. 19 states across India are now all reporting a rise in cases. And as far as the new Omicron variant of the coronavirus is concerned, India has 781 confirmed Omicron cases. This on a day when it reported over 9,000 COVID cases in all. Delhi was leading that list. Maharashtra following just behind. Gujarat, Kerala, Telangana, Rajasthan, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Haryana, West Bengal, Madhya Pradesh, Odisha, Andhra Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Chandigarh, Jammu Kashmir, Uttar Pradesh, Goa, Himachal Pradesh, Ladakh and Manipur all on that list now. As more and more states report rising COVID cases, Union Minister and the BJP's election in charge, Gajendra Singh Shekhawat, has announced that the BJP is ready to hold virtual rallies if the situation so demands. This, of course, in the states of Uttar Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Goa, Punjab and Manipur that are all going to polls early next year.
ये जो वर्चुअल है भारतीय जनता पार्टी की पूरी तैयारी है। भारतीय जनता पार्टी पहले भी तैयार थी। हमने बंगाल के चुनाव के समय में भी वर्चुअल रैलीज की है और जब कोविड आया था पहले दौर और दूसरे दौर के समय में जब दुनिया की सारी पॉलिटिकल पार्टियां हाइबरनेशन पे चली गई थी, उस समय भी भारतीय जनता पार्टी के कार्यकर्ताओं के को सांगठनिक स्तर पर संभालने के लिए भारतीय जनता पार्टी लगातार बूथ से लेकर के राष्ट्रीय अध्यक्ष तक सब लोग जुड़े हुए थे और सब लोग वर्चुअल प्लेटफॉर्म पर काम कर रहे थे। भारतीय जनता पार्टी के कार्यकर्ता समाज को संभालने का भी काम कर रहे थे। मुझे लगता है कि भारतीय जनता पार्टी के लिए किसी भी परिस्थिति में, कैसी भी परिस्थिति हो, हर परिस्थिति में काम करने में अनुकूलता बराबर रहती है।
Globally, COVID cases have been hitting record daily highs in the United States, in France, in Italy, in Greece, Portugal and Cyprus in the last 24 hours. 2.7 lakh daily COVID cases are being reported in the United States, which is in fact a new record. Meanwhile, Rather worryingly, hospitalizations for COVID cases have also increased in London by 53%. There you have it. The country is reporting the highest Omicron cases currently. United Kingdom at number 1, Denmark, United States, Germany, Canada, Norway and France are the biggest contributors. Back home, the Indian Army has agreed to give access to Nagaland Special Investigation Team or SIT to record statements of soldiers and Jawans who were involved in the ambush that went horribly wrong on the 4th of December, in which 14 civilians in Nagaland's Mon district were killed. Ratnadeep joining us with the latest on that. Ratnadeep, a big step here. What more do we know?
That's right. It is a big step. In fact, what we can confirm to our viewers is that the Nagaland SIT, which was formed and initially it had only 5 members, has also been expanded to a 22-member team, and which includes 5 senior IPS officers, and they have got divided into 7 teams now to expedite this investigation. And what sources in Nagaland police have confirmed us this morning is that Army has agreed to give access to the Jawans and officers who were involved in that botched up operation on December 4th, where 13 people got killed, 13 youths got killed. In fact, now what kind of access it will be, what we are picking up from our sources is that at this moment it will be only to record statements, and in all likelihood those statements might be signed statements. Nagaland police officials do tell us that they would be able to examine, but to clarify this, that this examination would not mean a cross-examination or interrogation. Remember, the Armed Forces Special Powers Act, which remains in place in Nagaland as we speak, gives immunity to these army jawans in terms of prosecution. So the big question here would be that whether in future center would allow prosecution access or not. That until unless center decides to withdraw Armed Forces Special Power Act. Remember, already center has formed a panel to look into it, but the panel has been given a mandate to review on the Armed Forces Special Power Act in Nagaland.
Okay.
This after the Nagaland Assembly actually passed a resolution urging center to repeal it. But this is a good move. Also today in the ground zero, the Army Court of Inquiry had visited and visited the spot where the incident has taken place, and also spoken to the locals. So Army investigation also gathering momentum at this moment.
Ratnadeep, thanks so much for that update. Meanwhile, Hindu religious leaders of a Dharm Sansad or religious assembly in Uttarakhand's Haridwar, who were recently seen in a video making open calls for genocide, have now been seen in a second video laughing with a police officer who they are heard saying is on our side. After more than 10 days, no action against those who made hate speeches. Today, in a brazen counter move, these hate mongers went to the police station to file a complaint against a local Maulana.
Far from being arrested, the organizers and hate speakers at a Haridwar event calling for minorities to be attacked have now been seen in this video, sharing a laugh with the local police. The video shows a police officer, SHO of Haridwar Kotwali, Rakesh Kathar, with several participants of the controversial Haridwar event from 10 days ago. Hindu Raksha Sena's Prabodhanand Giri, who organized the Dharm Sansad, Yati Narsimhanand and Pooja Shakun Pandey aka Annapurna, and Jitendra Narayan. They face charges of promoting enmity between different groups and face up to 5 years in prison if convicted. The accused are yet to be questioned, yet alone arrested. But in the new video, she tells the police, you should send a message that you are not biased. Another hate speech accused, Yati Narsimhanand, who says, Ladka hamari taraf hoga, that the police officer is with them. Then everyone in the room burst out laughing while the police officer smiles and nods sideways. The local police says they can't stop anyone from smiling, but insisted their investigation will be unbiased. The videos from the Dharm Sansad event, held from December 17th to December 20th, have been widely criticized by former military chiefs, activists, opposition parties and even international personalities. Prabodhanand says he has no regrets and will organize more Dharm Sansads.
धर्म संसद की कोर कमेटी ने चिंतन करने के बाद निर्णय लिया कि पूरे विश्व में इस्लाम का जिहाद इस धरती के लिए मानवता को बचाने के लिए समस्या बन गया है कि जिस प्रकार से हरिद्वार में धर्म संसद का आयोजन किया गया, उसी प्रकार पूरे भारत में धर्म संसदों का आयोजन किया जाएगा।
The accused wanted to file FIR against Muslim clerics of Haridwar for allegedly working against Hindus. Later, police responded, saying they are still investigating the matter. They cannot stop anyone from laughing.
कौन क्या बात कर रहा, हंस के क्या बात कर रहा, वो मना तो नहीं कर सकते, लेकिन जो हमारे कोतवाल इंस्पेक्टर कोतवाली थे, उनका वहाँ जाने का मेन मकसद ये था, हमें ये पता लगा था कि जो नामजद व्यक्ति हैं वो वहाँ पर उनकी उपस्थिति है। इस सूचना पर वो वहाँ उनको नोटिस तामील कराने गए थे, जो कि इन्वेस्टिगेशन का पार्ट है।
But on the contrary, in the case of hate speech, police is yet to register case against Yati and Prabodhanand, who were the organizers of Dharam Sansad. With Saurabh Shukla, Osama Shah for NDTV.
In Uttar Pradesh's Amethi, a teenage SC/ST girl was beaten mercilessly. In gut-wrenching visuals we're about to play out, a group of people are seen repeatedly hitting the teenager with a stick and questioning her as well. Congress's Priyanka Gandhi Vadra tweeted that video with a warning for the Adityanath government.
A scheduled caste child being mercilessly beaten by a group of adults. Some even recording the incident on their mobile phones, but nobody stopping the attack. Congress's Priyanka Gandhi tweeted the gut-wrenching video questioning the Yogi government about the atrocities against Dalits and women in the state under his rule. There have been approximately 34 cases of atrocities against Dalits every day in the state and about 135 crimes against women, she says. This horrific incident, videos of which have been shared widely since, happened over a week ago at this house of Suraj Soni, a history sheeter who has been to jail before, even charged under the Gunda Act. The police say a case has been registered under POCSO and SC/ST Acts and they are investigating the matter.
त्वरित रूप से थाने पर सुसंगत धाराओं में अभियुक्त पंजीकृत कर लिया गया है। इस संबंध में माननीय सांसद महोदय का भी निर्देश प्राप्त हुआ है। इसी क्रम में घटना में शामिल एक नामित अभियुक्त की गिरफ्तारी कर ली गई है। शेष 2 अभियुक्तों की गिरफ्तारी के लिए टीमें लगा दी गई हैं। अतिशीघ्र उनकी भी गिरफ्तारी कर ली जाएगी। इस संबंध में पीड़िता की सुरक्षा के लिए पुलिस बल लगा दिया गया है।
Since then, the police say they've arrested a second accused too and continue to look for the third. However, after Priyanka Gandhi's tweet and the subsequent outrage, the house is now locked. It is only when the police started looking for the accused that they realized that the accused have fled. With Kamal Khan in Uttar Pradesh, this is Mariam Alavi for NDTV.
On to a story that gets more bizarre with every new twist that's reported. The case of UP businessman Piyush Jain, who was raided, leading to record recoveries by tax agencies. The opposition in UP has now claimed that the wrong Piyush Jain was raided, a charge officials are denying strenuously. Alok Pandey and Kamal Khan report on UP's comedy of errors.
By the end of raids that lasted over a week, the Directorate General of GST Intelligence made these recoveries from Jain. A massive 196 crore rupees in cash, 177 crores in Kanpur and 19 crores in Kannauj. 23 kilograms of gold valued at 11 crore rupees and 600 kgs of sandalwood oil valued at 6 crore rupees. In a statement to court, the agency has claimed Jain was evading GST by supplying taxable goods, perfumery compounds in this case, in an illicit manner using 3 firms run by him and his brother. The statement says Jain has admitted to illegal possession of 177 crore rupees in cash so far.
CGST एक्ट की विभिन्न धाराओं के अंतर्गत इसमें जांच हो रही है। उन्होंने किसी प्रकार का टैक्स इनवॉइस नहीं जारी करे, जिसमें उन्होंने अकाउंट्स नहीं रखे। उन्होंने सेल्फ असेसमेंट टैक्स जो दाखिल किया गलत तरीके से दाखिल करा।
This is the residence in Kannauj of Piyush Jain, the businessman whose properties in Kanpur and in this town were raided. His neighbors say that he was a simple man and somebody who clearly did not show off.
उनका व्यवहार बहुत अच्छा था।
अच्छा।
अब मालूम हुआ कि यहाँ पैसे वाले हैं।
Piyush Jain's neighbors in Kanpur told NDTV he was extremely low profile and rarely had visitors. If someone stood outside the house, the guard would immediately ask him to leave, according to neighbors.
लेकिन आप लोग को ये अंदाज किसी को यहाँ नहीं होगा कि कोई इतनी बड़ी बारामदगी यहाँ हो,
को भी अंदाजा नहीं, किसी को उम्मीद तक नहीं.
Coming in the middle of a high-pitch election campaign in UP, the raids have entered political speeches, with the BJP and Akhilesh Yadav's Samajwadi Party accusing each other of backing the now jailed perfume trader.
2017 से पहले भ्रष्टाचार का जो इत्र उन्होंने पूरे यूपी में छिड़क रखा था, वो फिर सबके सामने आ गया है.
Sources in the GST intelligence have told NDTV that the searches on UP businessman Piyush Jain were not a case of mistaken identity, but whereas a successful operation based on a specific intelligence of tax evasion by Sikar Pan Masala manufacturers and others. क्या पिछले एक हफ्ते में सर कोई आपके ऊपर किसी तरह की टैक्स की रेड या कोई इंक्वायरी या जीएसटी डीजीजीआई से कोई आया हो आपके प्रेमाइसेस में या आपके रेजिडेंस पे?
कोई नहीं आया, कुछ भी नहीं.
तो पुष्पराज जी, फिर मैं ये जानना चाहूँगा कि पिछले एक हफ्ते से जो आपने राजनीति होते हुए देखी है, प्रधानमंत्री तक ने बिना आपके नाम लिए, लेकिन उन्होंने कहा कि भाई समाजवादी पार्टी से सुगंध या दुर्गंध की बात की, करप्शन की बात की, इस तरह की बातें आपका नाम लेके क्यों उछाली जा रही हैं?
ये राजनीति है, राजनीति का स्तर बहुत नीचे गिर गया है.
Kannauj is a historical town and the perfume industry here has existed for many years. In fact, at the moment, I'm in a field where roses like this one are grown that will ultimately become part of perfumes that are sold not only here in India but also worldwide. It's ironical then perhaps that the latest political controversy in Uttar Pradesh, where elections are due in less than 2 months, has originated from here and from Kanpur, which is about 80-90 kilometers away. This is perhaps not the last that we have heard on these tax raids that have unearthed a massive 200 crore rupees just in cash and other valuables. The political pot shots over it are likely to continue. With Mohammad Israel and camera person Vineet Verma, this is Alok Pandey, NDTV.